Today, we are gonna go back to the basics. We're gonna go to square one when cooking meat. We're gonna brown ground beef. So if you are that self-proclaimed, I don't know how to cook anything, I can't boil water, I am horrible at everything that has to do with cooking, I wanna give you a couple of tips so you can really start upping your cooking game. We gotta get better at this. If we can't brown ground beef, we can't do anything. There are hundreds of recipes that start with brown ground beef. We gotta get this down. Let's do it. I'm gonna help you. We're gonna do it together. Let's go. All right, my first tip is to get acquainted with this knob right here. This is the knob that controls how much fire comes out. All right, we light it up. This is at high. We don't want anything to do with high. We want to go down to medium. So the lower the temperature, the more control we're gonna have over our cook today. Once our pan gets hot, we are now gonna add a little bit of avocado oil. I like avocado oil because it has a high smoke point. What that means is it doesn't smoke when it gets really hot. Just a little bit on the bottom. This is 80-20 ground beef. What that means is it's 80% lean and 20% fat. So there is gonna be some fat in here that's also gonna help us for it to not to stick to the pan. So now I'm gonna take my ground beef, just put it right there in the middle. I'm gonna squish it down a little bit. You can hear a little bit of sizzle, but not too much. And we're just gonna let it sit there and let it do its thing, let it brown on one side. So we're gonna use, I have this bamboo spoon, I guess you would call it, but it comes to a point right there on that side. I really like this one because it's good for chopping up the meat as it's cooking. Again, we have the medium to medium high heat. If it gets too hot, if everything's happening a little too fast, we're just gonna go and turn down the heat a little bit. The lower the heat, the more time you have to react to what's happening. I think that's where people get in trouble, is they crank everything all the way on high, and then bad stuff happens. We're burning things, we're smoking the place out. You really just gotta take your time and do it right. As you can see, we're going from a red color to a little bit of a brownish color. So we are already halfway home to browning this ground beef. It's really important that you have these basic cooking skills. You really got to be able to cook for yourself. So this starts all kinds of recipes. I need to, brown a pound of ground beef. This is so important that you can do this fundamental skill. And you don't have to be a 4-star chef to do this. It's just a very simple process, and I think what people get in the most trouble is they try to do it too fast or on too high of a heat. At this point, we can decide if we want to season with a little bit of salt. And depending on what your recipe calls for, the next decision we have to make is what are we going to do with the fat. So I'm going to show you how to drain it. We're pretty much all the way cooked. So now what I've done is I've taken a sheet tray and I put a little bit of paper towel on there. So I've turned the heat off, and now I'm going to switch to a slotted spoon. All right, here we go. So we've made this ground beef. It's not that hard. It's very, very simple to do. You can do this. You have the ability to brown ground beef and make a recipe. Raise your cooking game. You can do it, get a little bit better every time.